Hello, hi everybody, glad to see you back. Well, today we are going to use some paint and we're gonna make some squirrels, kind of like a squirrel collage. So I went around my house and I collected a bunch of squirrels to look at because it's Squirrel Appreciation Day, and I found my squirrel puppet. Look at his tail. I love it. And he's got a nose and he just looks like he's ready to scamper up a tree. So I have a squirrel puppet. I actually have something kind of funny. It's a squirrel basket, but you know, you can always tell it's a squirrel because it's got that fluffy tail on the back and he's got his two paws out here like so to hold an acorn. And then I have a couple of taxidermy squirrels. Look at that. I think this one was shot by a squirrel hunter and fixed up so it's not alive anymore, but it looks pretty alive. And then my other squirrel taxidermy, I put him in my Christmas tree sometimes because it looks like he's climbing up a tree and there's his tail fluffing out the back. So the reason I'm showing you all these squirrels today is because we're going to cut out some squirrel shapes in a minute. Oh, I got a McDonald's toy that's a chipmunk, and a chipmunk is kind of like a squirrel. Then I have some kind of small squirrel figurines. So if you go around your house, you might be able to find some squirrels just for fun because it's Squirrel Appreciation Day. And so I'm showing you those because we're going to take a look at what a squirrel looks like and cut out shapes that remind us of squirrels. And then we're going to tape them to a paper and we're going to use some paint to make them look as squirrel-like and as squirrely as we can. Oh, but I want you to try something first. I want you to pretend you're a squirrel. That's the best way to make squirrel art, is to pretend you're a squirrel. So take your hands, and of course, people, we've got 5 fingers. We got, a thumb and 4 fingers. But squirrels have these little paws, and they've got some claws on there, but they only have 4 of them. They don't have 5. They don't have what we call an opposable thumb. See how I can go like this and my fingers touch my thumb, and that makes it easy for me to pick up my paintbrush because I can hold it in my thumb and my fingers. So I'm going to pretend I'm a squirrel. So take your thumbs and tuck them into your palms just like that. Can I see you do that? So now you have hands that are a little bit like squirrel paws. You can't pick up a paintbrush. I'm trying. I can't pick up my paintbrush. I keep dropping it. So what I have to do is I have to use 2 of my paws, my squirrel paws, to pick up something because I can't use my thumbs. So here's how a squirrel would pick up something. I'm going to put my toy right there. And instead of picking it up with my thumb and my fingers, I use my 2 squirrel paws and pick it up like that. That's how a squirrel would pick up an acorn. So think squirrely. That's what we're going to do. So some of the supplies that we need today are paint brushes. And I even have a toothbrush just in case. I don't know what I'll do with it. But I have some paint brushes. I also have some paper plates to put paint on. And I have several different colors of paint, but I have black and I have white. And I have some blue. Yep, blue. And I have some other colors here too. I have some red and some yellow. But I'll show you. We need some brown. So if you don't have any brown paint, I'll show you how to make some. I have a paper bag. And I have some scissors, and I have a big background sheet of paper. So let's get started. Let's make some squirrel shapes. Okay, have you got a paper bag? I'm going to cut mine apart so it's flat, and I've done this before at craft time because I like to use my paper bag as a big giant piece of paper. So if you haven't already done it, I'm actually cutting the bottom off my paper bag. And it doesn't take very long. And then I have a big giant flat piece of paper once I get that bottom off my paper bag. We're going to cut some squirrel shapes. Okay, there, I cut the bottom off. And there's my big giant piece of paper. Now I probably don't need all of this because, you know, squirrels are kind of little, right? But I'm gonna put it down on my table and turn on the tabletop camera so you can see what I'm doing to cut some squirrel shapes. So here we go. Tabletop camera coming up. There it is. There, you can see my brown piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is the first shape I notice about a squirrel is its tail. And it kind of curls around its back. See that squirrel tail right there? It's curling up and over. So that's the shape that I am going to cut on my paper. Let's see if I can show you how to do that. And you can draw it if you want, or you can just cut the shape with your scissors. So what I'm going to do is I'll draw it first. So here is my curly shape, and it goes down and over to the squirrel and up like that. There. Does that look like a squirrel tail? So I'm going to cut out my shape. But if you don't draw it first, you can just kind of wing it and cut out your squirrel. Whoopsie. I got to make sure I'm doing this on camera. There we go. I'm cutting out my squirrel shape. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect or not because you can always trim it up. And there you go. Okay. Now, I almost got it around the top of the tail. Okay, so does everybody have something that looks like a squirrel tail shape? There's one. Okay, I'm going to cut my big piece of brown paper. I'm going to cut it down so I can handle it better. It's in some of the big spots are in my way. There we go. Okay, so I got a little amount to work with. Okay, so now I'm going to take my squirrel and look at his head. There he is. Where is he? He's flat. Okay, where is he? There he is. So there's his head. And if I took and kind of drew the shape with my finger to tell me what shape is a squirrel head, I'd say it was kind of like an oval. What do you think? Kind of like an egg-shaped oval? I think so. So that's the next shape that I'm going to cut, sort of an oval. Should I draw it first? I could draw it first. I think I will, but you don't have to. So I'm going to draw an oval. An oval is kind of like a smushed circle. There it is, an egg shape. So that's going to be my squirrel head. I'm going to cut that out. Cut that out of my brown paper. All around. There. So I have a tail. I have a head. So let's do some ears. What do ears look like? Let's take my puppet again and look at some ears. Oh, they're little and they're like half ovals. Here, see that? So let's cut two half oval shapes out of my paper. Remember, they're littler than the head. So I'm not gonna draw them this time, but you can draw them if you want. I'm gonna cut half oval shapes of, oops, it got a little pointy. You can have pointy squirrel ears or you can have oval shape point. I'm gonna do oval shape there. Bing, there. I have one ear. And you know, since this is flat, I think maybe I only need one ear showing, but I'll cut another one just in case I need it later. So right about the same. Are you cutting ears over there? I'm cutting ears from my piece of paper, half ovals. Okay. So when I put this on my squirrel to build the squirrel, I might put it kind of behind so it looks like he has 2 ears. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to do that. So now we have a head, 2 ears, and a tail. How you guys doing? We're going to, if I don't hear you yell stop, I'm going to cut a squirrel body. And here's my squirrel again. There's his head. I'm going to stick his head off camera. There's his body. And now if I take my hand and try to draw a body shape, it's a really long oval, a really long, skinnier oval. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to take my paper and draw a long, skinny oval or egg shape, but a long one, a long one, a long one. So wait, where's my hand? Here we go. All right, so long and skinny, 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 long and skinny. There it is. Can you see it? There it is. So I'm gonna cut that out and all around out of my brown paper. Oops. This is going to be a squirrel collage, a squirrel made out of different parts. Okay, so there's the head, and I'll move it over here a little bit. And there's the body. And my tail's upside down. Oops. Nope, my tail wasn't upside down. There's the tail sticking out. Is it starting to look like a squirrel? I hope so. Well, what's he missing right now? Oh, some arms. Let's do some arms. Oops. Uh-oh. My paper is getting all kind of cut apart. So I have a little piece here that I'm going to do arms with. Now, arms, it's kind of hard to tell from my puppet what his arms and his paws would look like. So it looks like a little tiny oval that gets really skinny on one end because of the paws. So that's what I'm going to draw next. I'm going to draw a skinny end with the paws, and then a bigger end like so. See how I did that? It was really skinny there, and then it got bigger at the other end. So it's a weird shaped oval. I'm going to do 2 of those. So to cut 2 of those at the same time, I'm going to fold my paper over so I have a layer of paper underneath, so that when I cut this, I'm going to have 2 of them. And I'm cutting. How are you guys doing? Am I moving too fast yet? There we go. Around and around and around and around and around. And I'm going to have two arms when I'm done. 2 arms with the paw end right there. Okay, so there's my squirrel right there. Squirrel paw. Oops, I accidentally moved his ears. And I'm going to tuck him under like so he can hold on to his nut. There. Oh, he needs some legs, don't you think? All right, we're kind of going to do the same thing for his legs. And then we'll have all his parts done, and we can start to glue them and paint them. Okay, so I have a little bit more paper bag left. Now, here's his arms. I think his back legs are going to be bigger than this, don't you? Yeah. So I'm going to move this over here and do kind of that same thing I did with a smaller end, and then it gets bigger and connects to the one that's up there. Okay, so there's his paw and his leg. So then we're going to fold it over again. So there's 2 layers. We're going to cut it. So when you're done cutting, you have 2 shapes that are exactly the same, around and around and around. Uh-oh, sorry. legs. And there we go. So now I don't need my bag anymore because I've got my two shapes. Put that down there. And I'm going to put that over there. So there's my, whoa, he's not fitting in the camera, is he? Okay, so I have my shapes. Now I forgot to tell you guys, you need a little bit of glue stick to hold them down while we're painting them. I forgot to get out my glue stick. So that's what I'm doing right now, messing up the camera and grabbing my glue stick. Okay. All right. So let's put our squirrel together on your big background sheet of paper. So I'm going to start with the body. I'm going to pull all those parts apart, and I'm going to put a little glue stick on them so I can stick them down. Okay, there we go. And I'm kind of glad we cut out the shapes before we put the paint on it because it gets a little messy if we don't. Okay, so there's his body. Next, we remember how we cut out his head. So I'm putting some, I'm putting some glue on his head. Let's see how that looks. Whoops, there we go. Put his head on his body. And remember how we cut out the half ovals for ears. Gotta stick that on. Oh, he's looking like a squirrel. There we go. Stick that other ear on. Wow, okay, so we better put on his tail, right? Okay, a little bit of glue on his tail. And, uh-oh, stick that on. Flicking out the back, I love it. And then his legs and his arms. I'm gonna do his arms first. There's one. And glue stick, glue stick, glue stick. And the thing I like about this is it's kind of hard to draw a squirrel unless you think, okay, what does his head look like? What, you figure out what that shape is, and then you draw it or cut it. And then you go to another part of the body and you go, what does that part of the body look like? What shape is that? And then when you put them all together, all of the shapes together look like a squirrel or a horse or whatever it is you're trying to draw. So if you break it down, you can pretty much put together anything, especially with the collage, because collages are neat. Okay, so here's his leg. I need a squirrel leg. Yeah. And oops, I might just use one because he's not 3D. I'm just going to pretend that his other leg is behind him because I ran out of space to put his other leg on. And I think that looks like a squirrel anyway. All right, so now we're going to paint him up. Are you ready? How are you guys doing? You have all the shapes and you have him glued? I hope so. So now it's time to paint him up. Well, when I look at my my taxidermy squirrels, I look at their fur. Whoa, there he is. And I see a lot of brown and I see a lot of different textures. Look how much longer the fur is on his tail than the rest of his body. So we're going to mix up some brown paint, and then with our brush, we're going to make some different kind of strokes to add texture. So I'm going to get out my paper plate, and let's mix up some brown. I don't know if you have any brown paint at your house or not. I don't. So whenever I want brown paint, I take and mix a bunch of colors together. And I take a primary color yellow. Oh, I think I put too much yellow in there. It's all right. I take a primary color red. Here we go. Come on, red, pour. There we go. And I take a primary color of blue. Now that doesn't sound like it's going to be brown, does it? But it will. It's amazing. I know that when I mix blue and yellow together, I get green, and I get orange if I mix red and yellow together. But if I mix them all together, it's going to turn out to be brown. But if you already have brown at your house, that's cool. You won't have to do this. So I'm going to take my brush and mix some of my primary colors together and see if I get brown. It's starting to get brown. I almost got purple there. Oh, a little bit of brown. It's coming up. It's coming. It's a dark brown. Oh, cool. I got brown. I'm mixing brown. It is turning brown. Oh, yeah. I got brown paint. Can you see how it's turning brown? It's a nice dark brown. The more dark blue I put in there, the the darker it gets. Ooh, brown. Sweet. All right. I wanted him to be a little bit lighter in color. So you know what else I'm going to put in there to make him lighter? See, there's my brown paint. Can you see how that turned out? That's pretty cool. I want a little bit lighter of a brown. So you know what? I'm going to add just a tad bit of white to make it lighter. White paint lightens up everything. Boing. There we go. Let's see what I get now. All right. I hope I didn't put too much in there. Oh, yeah. I got some light brown. Okay. So I got some brown to paint my squirrel with. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do to add texture, right? I'm going to paint. In fact, I'm going to practice on a piece of paper first. But you don't have to. There's my practice paper. I want to paint some long swirls for the tail. See, I'm kind of making circles and brushing it lightly, 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 lightly. Oh, swirly fur. And that's what I'm going to do on his tail. Okay, so there's my color of brown. And I'm going to go swirl, 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 swirl all over his tail. Check it out. To make it look like a big, long, furry tail. And you know what? This squirrel is out in the wintertime. And so I have a little bit of white that I'm not going to drop into my pile of brown paint. I'm just going to drop it on my paper plate here. And I'm going to take another brush and I'm going to add some white because my squirrel is getting snowed on. What do you think? My squirrel is getting snowed on. All right. So here's some brown fur on my squirrel tail. And some, from the other brush, some white snow on my squirrel tail. Okay. Uh-oh. I got some more snow on my squirrel head. So now I'm going to start to paint the head. And the fur is much shorter on the squirrel head. So instead of swirling painting like this, I'm going to go doink, 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 doink. I'm just going to plop it here and there with a little bit of white because I like white. And that kind of lightens it up the color. So instead of swirling, I'm kind of dabbing. That's a good word. I'm dabbing. And I like some of the dark brown that I made. And so I'm going to put some dark brown in there too. I got light brown and dark brown. And I'm dabbing my squirrel all over and adding some white. Whoa. And brown. How are you guys doing? How's your painting going? Whoa. So I am going to continue on my squirrel because dark brown and light brown together. Some more fur on his ears. And some more on his brush. And I'm going to do some more swirly strokes too. Mix in some more brown color in there. just by the way you move your brush, it can make a squirrel's fur look different. There he goes. Oh, you know what? I think we should add a little bit of black to our picture. I'm going to squirt some black on my plate. Oh, when I opened it, look what I did. I put some dots of black right onto my picture. Yeah, I didn't say I was neat. Sometimes I'm very messy. So now I have some black, black to mix in with my brown and white. Because, you know, not all squirrels are all brown. Sometimes they're black squirrels and gray squirrels. And so we're putting all kinds of colors into there. Whoops, I made a mess here on my paper. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna give my squirrel a little black nose. What do you think? And a black eye. There we go. Can you see him? All right, and so I am adding some more white and some more brown, and I'm just gonna finish up his body. Ooh, the black's kind of taking over. I want more brown. I want more brown, so I'll mix up some. And he's looking good. Gonna paint his leg in swirl fashion. And oh, he's got a big black. I accidentally got a drip of black on his ear, so we're going to take advantage of that happy accident. And instead of little pink ears, he's going to have black ears. It's okay, because it's my squirrel and I can do what I want. There we go. Okay, and there is our squirrel. Now, we kind of want a squirrel to be in the background in the snow. So let's make a sky and some snow in the squirrel background so we can see where he lives. So I'm gonna move my squirrel a minute and let's make some light blue. Now remember when I said before I added white to everything to make it lighter. Well, so there's my blue, and I'm going to add a bunch of white, and I hope I get a nice blue sky color. We'll find out. Okay, oops, I got black all over my brush. Sorry. Okay, so I'm hoping to get, oh yeah, it's turning out to be blue sky. I added some white to my dark blue, and I got a blue sky color. So I'm going to put some blue onto my background so it looks like the part of my squirrel has a sky. All right. And then I'm going to put some over there. That's going to be cool and blue. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with my accidental big drop of black in the middle of my picture, but I'll think of something in a minute. Maybe it could be an acorn or something. If I turn it into an acorn, I could probably. There we go. All right, so there's the blue sky for my squirrel. And now I want to make some snow. So I'm going to start with mostly white. There's a whole bunch of white, and don't want very much blue in it, so I'm wiping out my brush. I just want a little bit of brown in it because sometimes snow gets a little dirty on the ground. Oh, there we go. That's what I want, sort of tanny brown snow. And oh, I've got a little bit too much blue. Anyway, there we go. Some snow on the ground. Or if you have white paper, you can just leave it white if you want. I just put sky in it because I wanted sky. Okay, well, there we go. We have some snow. You know what? I think I need one more thing. Wherever you see squirrels, you know you got some trees, right? So I have a big piece of white paper, and I'm going to cut a tree trunk. See, there's my scissors. I'm going to cut a skinny tree trunk. Look at that. And I'm going to put that into my painting too. I know what I'm going to do with that big black mess I made. I'm going to cover it up because I'm going to put my tree there. Okay, so I'm going to move my squirrel out of the way for just a second and move my tree piece of paper here. Oh, you can't see it. There it is. I need a background so it shows up. I know. I'll put it on my brown paper so you can see me paint the tree. There's my tree. Okay, there he is. All right. So my tree is going to be brown again, but I'm going to paint some tree bark on my skinny tree trunk. So I'm going to just do this and make some dabs with my brush. Maybe a little bit of black, a little bit of brown. And I am making a separate piece of a tree trunk for my squirrel to climb. And of course, because it's snowy out there, my tree is going to have some snow on its trunk. There, does that look like tree bark? I hope so. You can experiment with that. So now I'm going to bring my squirrel page right back up here, and let's cover up my accident, my big dot of black, because I'm going to put a tree. I'm going to put a little bit of glue stick on the back of my tree and glue my tree trunk right by my squirrel. So there we have it. I hope yours turned out pretty good, guys. Oops, we have to glue that down later when it dries. Actually, hold on. There's my glue stick. And there's my tree. And of course I got paint on my hands. So you could add, depending on how big your paper is, you could do more trees. But there we go. Check it out. All right, so I'm going to go back to the FaceTime camera because I want to see what you guys are doing and how yours turned out. There we go. Hi, there you guys are. Now I'm going to hold up my whole page so you can see it better. I have sort of a small field of vision. Okay, so there's my squirrel and my tree out of pieces and parts. And you can do just about any animal by looking at the shapes of their parts. There's the curly tail. There's this oval head. And all you have to do is look at the shapes. All right. Well, hope you had fun doing a squirrel today, and keep working on it if you're still working and painting. Painting is so much fun. And I hope you come again next time. Something I had never ever seen before, and here's where you get to make a choice. Was it a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? And I'm just gonna stick some pine cones in my box, and then the fun starts. I just start rolling them around. Air rushing out of the balloon is going to push that balloon up. So let's see what happens. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. So that's how rockets kind of work. We are going to build 2 different kinds of rockets today.
Cork on as fast as